We are out with Terra. They have graciously agreed to tour us around the logging region that is Rotorua. We are up today with McCormick Logging, a local contractor, and we're checking out how they harvest and process timber. So again, big thank you to Terra for having us out and touring us around and showing us how they log in New Zealand. Today we're headed to a logging operation. I don't know where or who with, but there's equipment and dirt and cool things to see, so we're going there. I should add we are in a Ford today, so I feel a bit more at home, albeit a Ranger. It's a Ford, so. So we just did a drug and alcohol test. Not something I was expecting to do, come and do a logging operation, but we all passed, no problem, nothing to hide, but definitely different standards here in New Zealand in terms of health and safety. Pretty rare to see a drug and alcohol test in on the Canadian logging sites, but yeah, we did it.
So they can just turn up any day, any time.
Down there they are sorting and sizing all the timber that's been harvested by the feller buncher on these slopes here. So the logs are felled on the slopes and dragged up by the skidder. And then up there they have a processor, it looks like a hoe chuck, sizing all the timber. Here in New Zealand they size and cut everything pretty short on site, and then it ships to the mill in pretty short lengths. So these are I may butcher this pronunciation, but this is the Radiata pine. This is a species that was introduced to New Zealand over a century ago. The soil in the Rotorua region is very volcanic, and this species of tree grows really well here and really fast. So the whole forestry industry here is based off a plantation model. They plant this species and harvest it at a set period. So there's a lot of sustainability built into the forestry industry here, but smells really good. I love the smell of fresh cut timber. Yeah, that's fresh. Logs arrive here by skidder, full length, as they were felled. We've got a 568 LL, which is short for log loader, with a processing head on it that sizes and cuts and debarks the trees. That's actually built by Woodsman. Woodsman pretty much builds all the attachments here in the Rotorua region, including the log loaders, or the hoe chucks, if you will. But the 568 takes the full length tree, debarks it, sizes it, and then he passes it on to the log loaders, or the hoe chuck, and then stacks it for sorting. And then there's a QA/QC program right behind them that again double checks the size of the log before it's loaded onto the truck. So, as you can see, it's an all Caterpillar show today. The timber industry in New Zealand is the third largest export for the country. 568 LL, so abbreviation for log loader. This is a factory-built machine that comes with a high walker undercarriage. You've got the double top carrier rollers. You've got a high-rise cab that tilts forward. It's set up for a processing head. It's got a bit of a longer boom, a a lot of guarding on the cylinders. We're in the way again. These are what are called relief holes. These are in the track pads. So sometimes they can be circular like this, they can be trapezoidal shaped, they can be square, it depends how you kind of get it spec'd from factory. Some people actually cut them in themselves, but these prevent packing in the undercarriage. So a lot of this timber, when it gets ground up like this, it'll pack in the undercarriage, and sometimes the track will skip or it'll get caught up in the rollers. So this prevents packing in between the links and the bushing. Another neat thing about these is these flexible grad panels. All the next gen forestry machines have these, so they're nice because you can hit it with a log or a stick and it's not going to bend and then become unusable like that. It'll just flex back into place. And then 360 camera, super nice on all the next gen machines. And these logging machines have it equipped as well. So in Canada, there's a lot of WBM products, that sort of thing, that build grapples like this. Here in New Zealand, it's called Ensign, E-N-S-I-G-N, which is part of Woodsman, who builds the processing head. So same principle, grabs logs, but different manufacturer here, right here in New Zealand. You want to stand by that? Customized 330 GC. So what you typically see in construction is a 330 excavator. Terra has worked with an engineering company to beef this up to a forestry spec. So a quick overview, certainly not all the specs, but they've done a high walk undercarriage, so high and wide, dual top carrier rollers, idler stiffeners, so just some reinforcement around the idlers, track keepers as we call them, to keep the tracks from jumping off the idler. The stick has been lengthened. You've got full guarding on the underbelly, full guarding around the sides, as you can see. 360 camera. You've got a grapple built by Ensign, which is part of Woodsman, on the front. You've got a reinforced cab, extra guarding kind of all around. So they've really taken this from a construction level machine and really built it up as something they can withstand the New Zealand forestry industry, and something that customers like McCormick can really rely on. So they've done a heck of a job, and it's really a testament to their level of service and their level of dedication to this industry. No, those are good. It's official. We are visitor. Sign in, ready to go.
Perfect. Hi. Quiet.
So we are at one of Terra's 19 dealer facilities. Between the north and the south island, they have 19 facilities. This one is in the Rotorua region. So all the customers in the region get their equipment either serviced here or purchase parts or new equipment from here. So Terra both works on new equipment and used. So if it's new, they order it straight from Caterpillar. It comes into the port of Auckland. It's transported here, and they'll do what's called a PDI, or pre-delivery inspection. So they'll make sure it's up to the customer spec of what they ordered. In addition, they also add on any modifications that the customer might want before it's then delivered to the customer. Alternatively, if it's used equipment, whether they're bringing it in on consignment or to sell it or they're bringing it in for repair. Terra also works on that here as well, as evidenced by the 730 that has the transmission lifted out of it. So they work on new and used here. They have a team that's based here that'll work in the shop, but they also have a team that goes in the field, the service trucks. They have to have such a large support network for all their customers because there's so much CAT equipment in the region. So Terra's really worked hard to build both their infield team and their team of technicians and everyone else behind the scenes at the shop so they can service their customers in the region. We were learning today that Terra is obviously the dealer in North and South Islands, but the little fern here is the silver fern. So if you're in the woods or the bush, if you find a fern bush and you flip it over, there's actually silver on the bottom. It kind of glistens, and that's what's in their logo. So really cool. That's pretty big, 23 ton it'll hold. 982? 982. Forest machine? Yeah, 982 Forest machine. Ensign built Grapple. That's huge. So this is a Weiler Beef 758. This is a feller buncher. We do have these in Canada as well, but we saw in the shop there was one getting the house split from the undercarriage. It's used, it's obviously a bit abused, but this one is a new version of that, so obviously nice and clean. But you can see just by the undercarriage on these, you got the rock guards, you got the high walker, you got the dual top carrier rollers, like you've got the flexible grab handles, you've got all the guarding, the fire suppression. You know, I guess that's kind of neat. That's like a hydraulic hose as a grab handle. So again, flexible because things are hitting this in the bush. You get the reinforced glass on the front of the cab. You've got the LED lighting package. You can see, so I'm 2 meters tall. You can see how high the machine sits. And you need that clearance when you're in the bush logging. It self-levels or tilts to level with the ground it's working on. Like these things are the real deal. So they're pretty much the standard here in New Zealand for logging. But coming around this side, I mean, we've got extra guarding here. We've got guarding on the cylinders. We've got guarding around the side. Like this is it. $966, which is a forest machine designation. So what that comes from factory, like what Caterpillar specs it with, is a larger counterweight. And then up front, we've got a larger ram for tilting the bucket. And then the geometry of the Z-bar is a little bit different to accommodate like a grapple or something like that versus say a standard digging bucket or a spade bucket. So once these machines go through Terra, they also get, at an outside source, they get a rear guarding package over the rad here. So you get a reinforced kind of mesh steel structure that protects the rear of the machine from any sticks or debris that might want to puncture the radiator. So as you can see here, all these are actually sold. So the 966, 980, 982 is a very popular size wheel loader for timber, for mills and whatnot, for handling timber and processing things. So they don't last too long around here. They get sold and customers put them to work pretty quickly. Big thank you to Terra Cat for hosting us today. They took time out of their day to get us around to a couple sites and tour the shop. So if you're local to the region, check them out. They have 19 different dealerships in the North and the South Islands. Again, big thank you to Terra Cat for showing us a good time today.